Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. This is a 2023 Hyundai Sonata N Line. And this, quite frankly, is my kind of car. A good-looking mid-size sedan with a turbocharged engine, good handling, and a reasonable MSRP. So today I'm going to review this car for you. We're going to have a look at the styling, we'll look at the engine and the transmission, we'll measure out the cargo space, we'll look at the passenger room, we'll do the convenience features and the safety features. And as always, if some of that sounds good and some of it sounds bad, check the description for timestamps. So we're going to start by talking about the styling, and I'll just come out and say it. I think the Hyundai Sonata is the best looking mid-size sedan in the mainstream market. You really have to move up to something in the luxury class to get a nicer looking mid-size sedan than this. I really like the lines, the sort of fastback profile with the sloping roofline at the rear. I love the lights on the car, the LED tail light bar that goes across the trunk. I always admire these things at night going down the freeway. And of course, the front LED running lights that sort of fade into that chrome strip that goes up along the edges of the hood. I just think that looks fantastic. I think that Hyundai did a fantastic job when they styled this car. And of course, this being the N Line, we do get some sportier touches. The front fascia is unique to the N Line model, as are the 19-inch alloy wheels. Those are a special design for this car. And then we have a very subtle ducktail spoiler in the back and a custom rear fascia for the N Line. And a personal favorite of mine, the quad exhaust tips. You've got two tips on either side. That definitely looks cool and sporty, and it's something that I enjoy. And of course, it goes along with the Sir Mix-a-Lot line, and I'm rolling the quad tails tollin'. Now we're going to move along to the engine and the transmission, and in the N Line Hyundai Sonata, you do get the 2.5 liter turbo. We've got 290 horsepower and 311 torque in this particular car. And I've driven a couple of other Hyundai products that have this engine. I've always been very impressed with it. And if it can move a Genesis GV80 or a Hyundai Santa Cruz pickup truck thing with authority, then it certainly can move a Sonata sedan, and it does. It's a very quick feeling engine. It has nice acceleration, very minimal turbo lag. It's very responsive. So I do like the engine, and it should be noted that per the owner's manual, Hyundai recommends 87 octane, just regular fuel for it. Transmission-wise, when you get this engine in the Sonata, you do get the 8-speed dual-clutch transmission. Those are wet clutch packs, if that makes any difference to you. And it is a very good transmission. Again, very responsive. It clicks off the shifts very quickly. It does feel sportier than a CVT, which is available in some of the other Sonata offerings. But since this is the N Line, the sporty version, it gets the dual-clutch transmission. One slight criticism that I will give that dual clutch transmission is the interface. You have a push button shift situation inside of the car, which is fine for most new vehicles or a 1950s Chrysler. But when I have a car with a dual clutch transmission, I do prefer a stick that I could bump up and down to change gear with. You do, of course, have paddle shifters on this car, which work just fine. So you can use those if you want to change gear yourself. But the push-button transmission, to me, doesn't really help the car's sporty nature. But one thing that does help the car's sporty nature is, according to Hyundai, they have mounted the electric power steering motor directly to the steering rack in this car to give it kind of more positive feedback and better response for the driver. It is a very nice feeling electric power steering system. You do get some feedback and some weight there, and that is something that differentiates the N Line Sonata from the rest of the Hyundai Sonata range. So that's a nice thought as well. They really did put some effort in to make this a sporty feeling model, and I appreciate that. Now we're going to measure out the cargo space in this Hyundai Sonata N Line, and for that we are going to use our handy dandy laser measuring tape. So first of all, if you'd like to see what the factory cargo net looks like in this car, it looks like this. You could put stuff in it. That's fine. And now I'm going to take it out to finish measuring the cargo area. The length of the trunk from the rear of the trunk to the back of the back seat with the back seat up, 3 feet 7 inches. The width of the trunk at its widest point at the rearmost portion of it, 4 feet and 5 inches. The width of the trunk at its narrowest point in between the wheel wells, 3 feet and 4 inches. The height of the interior of the trunk is 1 feet 9 inches. The length of the cargo area when you fold down the back seat is approximately 6 feet and 1 inch. I say approximately because that does kind of vary based on where you have that passenger seat set, but that's where it is right now, and it's in kind of a mid position. Now, it should be noted when you fold the back seats down, the cargo opening is pretty limited, and there is kind of a hump in the floor. It's not a flat load floor, so that is kind of a limitation there, unfortunately, but if you need to fit one long object that's not too huge in there, it could work. And if you have one of these cars and you're trying to figure out how to fold down your back seats, you pull on these levers on either side inside of the trunk. And if you need to lift something into the rear of the Sonata, you're going to have to lift it 2 feet and 4 inches. And just for fun, let's see what we have under here. Oh, no spare tire. It looks like we have an extended mobility kit and a little bit of additional storage. If you really wanted to, it looks like you could probably take that styrofoam piece out and add your own spare, but from the factory you don't get one, just the tire mobility kit. Now we're going to have a look at the passenger space in this Hyundai Sonata, and for that I like to use myself. I'm 6'5", so let's see if I can sit behind myself in this vehicle. Okay, so this pretty much went how I expected it to. I can sit in the front. I have my seat adjusted so I have just enough knee room, and I do have enough headroom in the front. And when I get in the back, we pay the price for the pretty sloping roofline because my head is touching the roof. My knees are kind of touching the seat. I'd say it's enough knee room, but I knew that the headroom was going to be a little bit of an issue just because, you know, of the sloping roofline. But you got to pay the price for beauty. Now we're going to talk about convenience features, and we'll start in the back seat where you have what I would consider to be the bare minimum of what's acceptable in this class. We do have rear air vents to give air to your backseat passengers. That's always nice. There is one single lonesome USB-A port so that your rear seat passengers can fight over that if they need to charge their devices. And we have a center armrest with 2 cup holders in it. So not a whole lot in the back seat, but it does have what you need. Now we're going to move into the front seat and talk about the convenience features up here, and I'll touch on a few little N Line features first. Hyundai says the seats in this car are the N unique sport seats with microfiber inserts. I will say they are very comfortable. They hug me very well. I like these seats a lot, and I do like these sort of microfiber, micro suede, Alcantara insert, whatever you want to call it. That does feel sporty to me because if you're really kind of hustling the car on a twisty road, it grips your clothing a little bit better and holds you in the seat better. You do have the leather-wrapped N unique sport steering wheel. I think that just means they put some red stitching on it and they put an N badge on it. The steering wheel's fine, it does its job. I've experienced similar steering wheels in other Hyundai products, but I will say for an N unique sport steering wheel, it's not very sporty looking. It does have a whiff of sort of old man to it. I think a 3-spoke steering wheel would look a little bit cooler, but it's not a big deal. You do have the 10.5-inch touchscreen in this car with the Bose sound system. The stereo system is very good. Factory navigation is included as standard on the N Line, but you will have to plug your phone in if you want to use the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto. We do have the 10.3-inch LCD gauge cluster. And again, I have experienced this in other Hyundai models, and I will level the same compliments and criticism here that I have leveled there, in that it works well, but I do wish that you had a little bit more that you could do with the gauges. You really have only a couple of different ways to look at them. If you put it into the Sport mode or the Sport Plus mode, then they go red and black and kind of look like they're coming out of a Dodge Charger. And in normal mode, they're just this sort of icy white thing. In either mode, the fuel gauge could be slightly easier to read, but again, that is a very minor criticism. And it does show you certain things that are kind of nice, like when you turn the windshield wipers on, it tells you exactly what mode you have the windshield wipers in, so that's cool. But I really wish that I could change the gauge so it looked like one of those horizontal speedometers, like out of an old 80s Ford or something. It's just software. Can I please do that? I'm going to start a petition. I want that in a new car. I just think it looks cool. We also have ambient lighting. It just sort of lights up the little strips along the dashboard and the doors at night, but it does look cool. You have 64 colors to choose from, and you can also sort of make a custom color if you want to do that as well. Dual zone climate control and heated seats are included too to keep everybody comfortable. And as far as charging phones, we have 2 USB ports capable of charging, one of which also does data for the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We have wireless charging as standard on the Sonata N Line, and we have an old school 12-volt power outlet if you want to plug something in there. The center console is decent size and shape, but lacks any charging ability, and you have some sort of small door pockets and door handle pockets to put things in, but overall it's a very nice looking interior, it is very usable, and it's a very nice place to spend time. Now we are going to move on to the safety features in this Hyundai Sonata N Line, and this comes with what Hyundai calls Smart Sense, which is a very comprehensive suite of safety features. The Smart Sense includes the forward collision avoidance assist with pedestrian, cyclist, and junction turning detection, lane keeping assist, lane following assist, driver attention warning, blind spot monitoring, blind spot collision avoidance, rear cross traffic alert, rear cross traffic collision avoidance, and safe exit warning. So essentially what all that means is that if the car senses an obstacle in front of you, if it's another car, if it's a person, if it's somebody on a bicycle, it will beep at you to tell you to stop. If you don't stop, it will hit the brakes to either prevent the accident or lessen the severity of the accident. It can beep at you to tell you to keep your car in your lane. It can also help control the steering if it can read the lane lines. That is the lane following assist. You do still need to keep your hands on the steering wheel. The driver attention warning will tell you if it thinks you're not paying attention that you need to pull over and get a cup of coffee. The blind spot monitoring is the little lights that light up in the mirrors to tell you when there's another vehicle in your blind spot. The blind spot collision avoidance will try to prevent an accident if you are trying to merge into a lane that already has somebody in it. Rear cross traffic alert will beep at you when the vehicle is in reverse and there is a car coming crossways in the parking lot. The rear cross traffic collision avoidance can hit the brakes in that situation to try to stop that collision. And the safe exit warning will warn you if the car thinks that you're about to open your door into impending traffic. And then of course in the driver assistance category, you also have the smart cruise control with stop and go and the highway driving assistant. If you have one of these cars and you want to know how that stuff works, I've made how-to videos on both of those features on previous Hyundais that I've driven, so I will put that in the description so you can check those videos out at your leisure. Thank you so much for watching my review of this 2023 Hyundai Sonata N Line. If you enjoyed the review, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. If you didn't enjoy the video, why did you watch it for this long? It wasn't going to get any better at the end.